The purpose of this video is to demonstrate to you how to use Excel to perform calculations for you for your mouse metabolic data. The first step will be to enter your data, and you can see here that I have already entered the sample data from our lab handout, the 15 milliliters consumed divided by the total time required. Second step is to enter formulas for calculating the milliliters of oxygen consumed per second and milliliters per minute. So to enter formulas, you want to click on the box where you want to do your calculation, type in an equals, and that always tells Excel that you're going to enter a formula. For this first one, for milliliters of oxygen consumed per second, I'm going to click on the cell that contains my milliliters of oxygen and divide that using a slash by the total time in this cell. Then I just hit enter and Google does the calculation. Actually, Excel does the calculation. By the way, you can do this same process using Google Sheet. Secondly, to calculate my milliliters of oxygen consumed per minute, I'm going to again type in an equals. Then I'm going to select the calculation I already completed, multiply that using an asterisk by 60, since there are 60 seconds in a minute, and enter. So I get 3.0 milliliters per minute. Moving on to part 2, I want to do my corrections based on barometric pressure and temperature. So again, I'm going to click in the cell where I want to do the calculation. I'm going to enter an equal, and this is where I'm going to actually put in my measured barometric pressure and temperature. So my measured barometric pressure was 775, and my temperature was 27 in Celsius. Now I'm ready to calculate my V-core. So again, I'm going to put in an equals. So the formula is at the bottom of page 4, and I'm going to click on my observed milliliters of oxygen per minute, and I'm going to multiply that by the observed barometric pressure divided by the standard barometric pressure, which is 760. Multiply that by my temperature correction. For this one, I need a parentheses. So I'm going to enter the standard temperature, 273, divide it by, then I need another set of parentheses. I'm going to click now on my observed temperature of 27 Celsius, add 273 to convert that into kelvins, close that parentheses. Notice that Excel kind of highlights the color so that you know which parentheses you've closed. Closed my outer parentheses, and now I'm ready to enter. So my calculated value, it rounds to 2.783882. By the way, you can round this by just clicking on these little arrows here. This increases or decreases the number of decimal points shown. So 2.78 is fine. Now I'm going to move on to part 3. In part 3 of my calculations, we're going to do the heat production. So heat in calories. Now we're on to page 5. Heat in calories is equal to our calculated corrected milliliters per minute. So I'm going to enter an equals, click on this cell with my calculated corrected volume, and then multiply by a standard 4.8. This is a constant, calories per milliliter, and multiply by 60 because there are 60 minutes in an hour, and enter. And I get 801.8, just as I expected. 801.8 gram calories per hour. In step 4 now, we're going to use the surface area. So to calculate the surface area, we're going to use the formula y equals a plus bx. So surface area, we're solving for y, is going to equal A, which is the constant, 0.437, plus BX, so B in this case is also a constant, 2.143, and we're going to multiply that by our weight that we measured. And we didn't use any parentheses, so just enter should give us our value, and it does, 86.2 centimeters squared. Finally, we can do part 5, which is the actual basal metabolic rate calculation. And so BMR, this formula is found on page 6 of your handout, and this is equal to the calculated heat, okay, so equals calculated heat divided by surface area, and we should get 9.3 gram calories per hour per centimeter squared. Now, you can streamline this and make it so that you don't have all these spaces in between, etc. But notice that once you have created something like this, you can then copy this into a new sheet. So I could copy this, all of this, and put it into a new sheet. And then I can change the data that I entered, which is distance and time. So if I change this, say, to 14 and change 300 to 90, using the same barometric pressure and temperature and the same mass, you notice that my BMR changes. So you can use this to just put in any data you want, and it'll calculate the BMR for you. That ends this message.